Hi, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whenever you're watching this. Oh, I have had a really challenging week and a really challenging transmission last week in Serbian, and that's something I am going to speak about. I'm going to be speaking about the same thing. Sorry, I'm just adjusting myself because light light is not good around here, and it's worse than usual for some reason. I don't know what's going on. Another thing to deal with that I didn't expect, I guess. Okay. So, yeah, last week I spoke about soul groups. This is something that I wanted to speak about before the tragedy that we had around here, and I just didn't find it appropriate to speak about that then. And then when I spoke last week, things happened that made it really challenging. And the transmission was really challenging because of the things that were clearing. Um, yeah, but I guess that needs to happen. I suppose that I'm going to be undergoing another big clearing while doing this transmission too. But it has to be done and it has to be said. So, first, before I start talking, I have a couple of announcements. Uh, First one is that for those who are having an online session with me, you will have to pay full amount of the session before the session. We will not do the session unless you pay beforehand. Um, I was very considerate before, but there were people who are not considerate to me. So this is why I have to change it. I mean, it's not even possible to pay like a percentage and then pay everything after. Um, People know usually what they're dealing with. What is it that I'm doing here? And they were not considerate. They were. I had a client who wasn't showing up, so I have to have been others, but not like this. So I have to state this, and I have to place these boundaries. Okay. I'm open for people if they're not possible can't pay at the moment or they need installments or something. We can always make some arrangements with a certain exchange happening or some agreement of something. That's always possible, and so far nobody tricked me in that. But it's a different thing when you say it up front and when you make an agreement with somebody and say what you need and what you can and cannot, and completely something different when you make a commitment. Then I sit with you for 7 hours and then you disappear. So yeah, that has never happened to me before. Uh, in these like almost 8 years, as much as I'm working, so same. So that's one thing. Another thing is that I want to remind you that it's possible to have a consultation with me before a session or after the session, or I don't know, series of consultations. I am a counselor, not a psychotherapist. I don't have a degree in psychotherapy. I have a degree in counseling. So, so far, people who wanted to check me out, they either use this YouTube channel or they could come to my presentations, the group presentations. They're not happening anymore. There are, session consultations that you pay for that then you can check out if you want to work with me. Who am I? Am I going to manipulate you or lie to you, or do I actually know what I'm doing or saying? That's for beforehand. And for the ones who don't want this kind of session and want some kind of consultations, it's in more intuitive consultations. I mean, this is my basic training. This is my basic vocation in guidance counseling. So, yeah, I mean, people rarely actually ask for it because I somehow profiled myself in doing this. So even when we do have a consultation, it's after a session, and then need some clearing of something, understand something. So it's kind of based for, I don't know, these kind of work. So yes, there are more spiritual consultations, and you know, some sort of consciousness therapy, but it's not consciousness therapy. It's more intuitive consultations. I then I would be a little bit more of a medium than I usually am in sessions, because that's kind of different. Then again, I still prefer not to um, make decisions for you or impose on you, because I'm taking away your power. I'm taking away your ability to develop. We, in communicating and discussing, can help you find the best solution and help you make a decision. But I don't function in a way it's like I'm channeling your future, or telling you what's going to happen in the future. I mean, the way I function, the way my guides function, I can't even do that. When I have a message or a premonition or something, or when I need to see something, or I don't know, say deliver something, it's specific, and it happens when when it wants to happen. It's not like I, just connect to the, any kind of spirit. I don't want to connect any kind of spirit. I connect to my soul, and I connect to my guides, my council of elders, my soul group. I don't want to connect to just anybody and allow for my channel to be used by any kind of ghosts and spirits that are flying around. No way. I mean, yeah, that they've been trying. So no, 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 no. I don't function like that, and that's not my thing. I'm not offering that. My intuitive consultations are something different. This is set to help you develop your own abilities, your own power, make your own decisions, and bring you autonomy in your functioning, and help you evolve. And yes, this is what I do through my spiritual regression sessions. This is also available. So I'm just saying, so somebody could want to use it. So at the moment, for some reason, I'm not working with groups. I tried to, I wanted to, but at the moment, that's not a thing. I'm working on it. I want it to happen at some point. Yeah, but there were other things that I had to clear. And another thing is that I have to be really careful of how I'm going to state this, because I don't want to invoke another attack. I am not open for making friends with people who want to be my clients. That's happened a couple of times after the session, and we didn't do sessions before, but it's really tricky, and it's you're not seen as an authority there, and you can get easily enmeshed into their dynamic. And I have this tendency to be pulled into somebody's dynamic, and I have constantly clients and future clients who want to pull me into their movie, into their dynamic, and that's not always nice because sometimes we just don't speak the same language, and yeah, uh, some of the things that have happened recently regarding that, because I kind of lowered my guard and allowed that. Um, because I wasn't aware at the beginning that I'm going to be having sessions with somebody. Kind of not okay, because not only that I was pulled into dynamic, others dynamic, uh, it's not okay for any of you. Oh, not even my friends, not closest family, not especially not clients, and the wider audience to be prying and poking into my personal choices, whether that's a private life or something else, because I have the right to make my own decisions and lead my life the way I want to and have my choices, personal preferences, words, I don't know, people, teaching, or whatever. Even if you disagree, that's fine. Anybody can have an opinion. I don't agree with everybody on anything. I don't push into somebody's private life unless you come for a session and then you specifically want to work on that. And that's kind of different if I see that somebody is not open for something, and the way my teachers taught me and the way other people who are some kind of teachers, whether they're very energetically strong or not, even if they're seeing something or not, disagreeing on something, or not liking somebody, um, it's okay to say that. It's not okay to be aggressive towards me, to push your agenda on me, to make me comply with your decision, because I don't see how that's different than anything that's been going on around lately, and from all the black magic that sometimes I get thrown at. And I really don't, nobody would allow me to pry in somebody's life. If somebody's not ready to talk about something, even if I'm 100% right, it's not my place to push in there, and I wouldn't be allowed, not by higher beings, but that person wouldn't just be open for that, and it would be completely wrong for me to be offending this person, not to mention choices of this person, and being completely rude and stuff. And that's really aggressive, and that's really controlling, and I'm nobody's property, and it's only my business who I allow in my private space or not. There are too many people that want to come into my private space. Yes, there are people that I want to be, well, actually that really rarely happens, that I really want to hang out with somebody and then I just say it. That happened only once or twice, and I really rarely do that. But because I constantly have these people who want to push into my boundaries and they're aggressive. And I mean, it's fine when I discuss with friends, and it's okay when friends tell me that they disagree with something and they're having a bad feeling or something like that. But then you just leave it there. I mean, I don't know any higher being that will put you in a position to be rude to you or make you choose between your choice and them or something like that. That's just you know has nothing to do with anything coming from the light, and it's making me question things. And yeah, I was feeling anxiety last week while I was making this video because of that, because I know exactly what would follow and what what was said to happen, which luckily didn't. Um, I, I'm not set with what I do with my personal choices or anything. I'm not set to hurt anybody. And if, yes, I've been hurt before by people, but even if the people that I chose hurted me in the past, I stand by my choices because I know exactly why they were in my life. The other ones and everything that I've been talking about and mentioning some stuff because I'm public like this, I'm speaking about things that nobody else wants to talk about. mm, mm, because I present something new. It's just about domination game from this very male macho culture that really needs to change. And this is why I'm having all the problems that I'm having because I'm a female expressing myself and holding my ground. And especially in this culture around here that is very patriarchal, I provoke a whole lot of men to prove to prove me wrong. And they're not allowed in my space. I mean, even if they are allowed, they, for some reason, there is just this big need to prove me wrong. And I don't like domination over me of any kind. Nobody does. Nobody would like it. And it's for the women in our culture, it's not allowed to disagree and say no. And I don't stand that. Even for the people who I really love, when I was presented with something like that and said that that's really not okay and I don't like that, when I was given aggression because of that, well, hey, I don't want that in my life. So with a heavy heart, and I had to part with these people because if it happens once or twice or even three times, it's bound to happen again and it's not going to change. And it's not up to me to put up with any kind of aggression because even if I make mistakes, I have the right to make mistakes, same as any one of you. And especially since I'm very intuitive, I'm trained in it, I'm trained in reading energy, I'm psychic, I receive messages, I know what I see in people and why are they there. So even the ones who are not, so maybe I don't know it at the beginning, maybe I don't understand from the very beginning that I'm being manipulated or controlled, but I will at some point. And when it come to the point where the first time I disagree, I encounter aggression, that's not good. That's not something I want in my life and in my reality. This is something that I've been dealing with all my life, and this is why exactly why I have all the problems that I have. I've been a different kind of woman, more seductive and alluring, and saying what you want to hear and then do my thing. Maybe I wouldn't, but it wouldn't be me. So I saw something else in this dynamic, was not the right kind of intention towards me or anybody else who was involved in this. And I felt I just had to say this to place my boundaries and to explain the need to um, protect something. And I was under a whole lot of pressure from I was attacked after it basically. And yeah, that's at least how I felt. It's not only how I felt, I saw what was going on and I knew the energy that was around me. So it was not good and it had not have a good intention. So it had nothing to do with healing or helping. And that's that's disappointing. And I have to place boundaries like this, um, because they're constantly being pushed. If we're all allowed to break our rules for somebody, and that happens, of course. But I don't like me being um, verbally attacked, and saying bad things about people that I care about and value. That's always been the case, not only in this particular case, because no, it's just that's not gonna make anybody agree with anybody. So yeah, especially that clown show that was in question was not as far from any kind of clown. And, anyways, I needed to clear this because it was it was set to create some hurt and disconnect, and it's exactly what I don't want. That's not what I'm about. And with everything that I do and with everything that I share here, I'm speaking for connections and creating communities and creating union, togetherness, and so was far from it. And um, it's far from what I'm going to speak about now here in about soul group. So let's go to the point. It's most of you won't understand this, but that was something really sitting in my heart, and I don't know if you can if you can see all the stuff that is clearing right now from me, but I was thrown like this bucket of heavy negative energy on me because of daring to disagree and protect my point of view, my ground, and somebody. And I will always do that. Generally, I'm that kind of person, but in this particular case, especially. Mm. So, this is not to say that by placing boundaries, I'm not open for communities or communication. It's just that it's not okay and it's not allowed. I know, like a lot of people who like to pry, but uh, looking into somebody's channel to see what kind of talents and abilities they have without actually asking them for permission is not okay. That's crossing somebody's boundaries. And it's different when you see whether they have a cloud or something on them and stuff like that. But, I'm talking about something different, and then using the information that you got from me um, about me against me. That's good. That's also not okay. That's really manipulative, and it's yeah. So there's no community and communion in a setting where you're just it's my way or highway. That's not what I'm about, and don't approach anybody like that. But if you really cross my boundaries like this, then I have to set, and where I feel that like I'm a little bit endangered there, or somebody else is in danger there, then yeah, then that's more than, just drawing the line. I'm not against community, communion, or stuff like that. But there has to be line where you don't cross, and you know, highly sensitive people should know that without having this having to be said, because you know what's going to hurt somebody, and yeah, this is exactly why I'm sometimes disappointed with the spiritual community around here. They do that constantly to me, and especially the energies, and I'm not talking about the what this past week, but generally with the energies that have been under um, constant surveillance and attack from. It's that has nothing to do with love. It has nothing to do with the kind of union and communion that I want, and it has everything to do with the uh, old energies that don't have the place there in the you know feminine energies. Okay, women can be pretty uh, aggressive too, but I'm not talking about sexes now. I'm talking about polarities. Feminine energies are nurturing, and they're not like that. And even I've had a teacher like that. Even when she has disagreement with you and has a premonition and of something that might not be good. But I had a male teacher like that. They would just ask you, "Are you sure about that? Uh, do, does it feel to you? Really want that?" Well, or they can even say, "I really disagree with that because of this and this, but it's really up to you." And that's it. That's all. There would never be pushing on making a decision that's you don't want to make, or maybe you want to make, but you want to see for yourself. So was not that kind of decision. It was I'm just using an example because it's not picture of love. And everybody is speaking about truth and love here. It's not something picture of love does. That's all. And I need to remove myself from these kind of situations, because these are the kind of situations that I don't even privately like. Not to mention in I don't know, operations and stuff like that. So yeah, and this has to do a lot with my soul group, because I needed to. I mean, I was speaking about soul groups and soulmates when I was making this video about twin flames, which I made a long time ago, and yeah, I kind of reframed some information according to some of my new understandings, and we are all discovering things that are hidden from us lately, and we're all discovering ourselves and learning through, like I said many times, I learned through my own skin, through my own processes. So although I spoke about and I mentioned the soul group within that longer video, I needed to kind of make this separate segment, because I see a lot of misunderstanding there. And I also had a lot of people, clients mainly, who think that I am in their soul group, where when I know actually that I'm not. And there are specific questions that you ask when you are that portion. So do you check? And besides, when I do a session with you, I know what's unfolding. And in a soul group, you will have, as a soul group, you will have the same lesson on the earthly plane. You are a mission, the same lesson too. So this is more for the people. There are people who don't really understand why are we going to the soul plane, to not the soul plane, but to this part in soul group. Why is this important at all? And then there are clients that this is important for them because they don't feel as if they belong anywhere, and as if they're not properly understood or fitting in. And this gives them a sense of belonging, even if their soulmates are not physically present with them or even incarnate. So that segment doesn't really last very long, but the energy is quite different because it's the energy of pure love. In a soul plane, it's completely different energy in its soul in feeling. In a soul group area, especially the primary soul group, it's pure love. And there's some clients that can't receive that because there's still other lessons that they need to learn and energies that they need to clear and dismantle to be able to receive it. Okay, and I'm like right now I'm more in clearing than in actual transmission, so I'm sorry if this sounds a little bit strange and off, because even the last time when I was doing this, it was like since I started doing these videos, it was my most challenging transmission because of that, because I was more in the process of clearing than receiving. There is a reason for that. And it was a challenging process for me. So your primary soul group is actually your real family, your soul family. Yes, they can be your biological family or some members of your biological family, but in most cases, at least to the ones that came to see me, they are not. These are your you have the same signature. All of you have similar or same energetic signature. You have same colors, you have same vibration. You may differ in polarities depending on what is your lesson, what you come to learn, what you come to embody, and what is the reason for that. But usually in faraway times, ancient times, those were actual families that were incarnating on earth for, sake of seeding or creating, or they were just, the original inhabitants here. So those were at some point like uh, mother, father, children, siblings, families. But of course, in that plane, the soul is whole. The soul does not have a sex. It has a preference of expressing itself as a gender, but more as, this kind of form for the sake of one or the other. So yes, on that level, you do also have your primary soul partner, which is either male or female, depending on how you express yourself on that plane. souls are basically sexless, because you don't really have this kind of physical body there. It's different. You kind of morph, and so you don't you do you are your soul for itself, and all of the others are also soul for themselves. You're not half a soul. So you're all one separate soul, but as um, I don't know where I placed my. Ah, well, I don't have my little helper here that I had the last time. I had it in my hand and it skipped from me. It ran away somewhere. For some reason, I had a stone that would help me. Uh, hmm, I don't know what it done. It ran away from me, and this has happened to me like this week several times. It's so funny. I have this. Um, no way. One necklace broke, one bracelet broke, one stone ran away from my neck. Like it just literally, it was very tightly, you know, it was a string, but it was very in a knot, and it just disentangled itself, and the stone ran away from me. And I hate when that happens. And this stone, I don't know where it is now. I found it. I'm funny. Yeah. Okay. Why was it hiding? There is a reason for this. It didn't want to show itself. So basically, as a soul, uh, you create one sphere like this. You can't see this, but this stone has little uh, white lines on it, like separate lines. And these separate lines actually create this fabric of this stone. And it's how I understand and how I see the soul group. So you are all downloading and uh, um, embodying. If you are all present at the same time, you're all embodying the same energy, but as a bigger soul, as a larger soul, your monad. That would be like your oversoul. So yeah, it does on that level looks like this. So this would differentiate by the vibration, by the energetic signature, the code you are all embodying, and the colors, the sound that you are. It will differ from others. You have a larger circle that is also your um, larger, like secondary soul group. It can be quite bigger. This one would have from 3 to 5. And sometimes I saw one with 10 people in there, but mm, mm, it's not usual. So if you see in your soul group more than 3 or 5, then that's not a soul group. That's either a study group or some kind of wider circle, secondary circle, or your ancestry, or your council of elders. But in soul group, you would have like a smaller circle, and you would have a study group that is other souls and mingle in there, and connect the lesson that you're learning, finishing some unfinished business, clearing karma, helping somebody learn their lesson. That would mean that you would be mentoring or teaching that person. That usually would be your children, or sometimes your spouses or parents. That's like another circle, but that's a study group. Usually when we have some karma going on with somebody, especially in families, like biological families, that means that they're from our study group. And we are helping each other finish some lesson and unfinished business and go through something because we agreed on this. We have agreement with them. Some agreements can be changed, some can't. And if you finished with them, they can be easily changed. Or if you finished with the lesson, it can be changed. But on that, on the soul plane, this is what we do in this area. But usually, the soul group, uh, it's like energetically speaking, you're all speaking the same language. You can have a little bit of variations if you actually try to speak it. Like when I started speaking my light language, like I said, this is my soul language. When I started speaking that, I was told this is my soul language, and if you don't, the group. I was also told afterwards when I worked with some therapists. I wanted to check what that was. She said, this is the language of my soul group. So you basically connect and understand with your soul group on another level through another language. It doesn't mean that all of you have to speak physically in light language. Depends on your mission and what you do here. But as you see, there are some that do. If you don't have your soul group present, so your soul group, like I said, can be your biological family, but most usually they are more your friends you made into a family, sometimes your children. And yeah, in rare cases, one or some of one or two, one from the parents, and very rarely siblings, at least with the clients that come to see me. But had many clients that had their soul group who they are incarnate on this earthly plane, but they're dispersed on different areas because they're downloading because of the mission that they have certain energy that is needed for that area and themselves, and they need this area because of the mission and their own lesson that they're learning. And then there are those whose soul group is not incarnate, or it's one or two is incarnate. And let me tell you, if you don't have your soul group present physically here, you're screwed from personal experience. And why am I saying that? Because you're going to feel all the time everywhere like you're lost in translation. It's like whoever you try to connect to and whoever tries to connect to you, you're going to be it's going to be passing by you. You can have people that want to communicate with you or help you, or I don't know, give you something. So, but it's like you're not compatible. So just passing right by you, or even clashing with you. It's not only that you don't understand their language; they don't understand your language, and it's not something that happens on a, physically, like I mentioned in the beginning. It can happen as a conflict because you think that somebody completely understood you. In a soul group, you don't even need to use those as many words because you understand each other telepathically. You read each other's vibration. And but yeah, I'm one of those that have felt all her life as if I'm constantly lost in translation wherever I went, and I traveled a little bit. And it's not about the area where you are. Some people think it's about the area where they are, or people they're surrounded with because it's their family or something. Yeah, I spoke about all of this, but it's not only because of that. It's because you speak different languages than those souls around you. It doesn't always have to mean that you are more advanced soul, but that's usually the case with the ones whose soul group is not incarnate, because they have bigger mission. You can also be a younger soul that came to a certain area and family to download a certain energy. So there are some groups that can meet later in lifetime when they grow in their energy and develop in power. Um, so when they get together, this energy doesn't blow them off, because when you come together, when you receive the energy of love, like when you pour water into the dirty cup, first all of the dirty energy water is going to come out. So it's the same with the energy. You have to finish your individual stuff before you get together with your soul group, not to mention your primary soulmate, your twin flame, because that's another challenging part. But the thing is that as a group, your soul group is always helping you. It's not in this environment. They, even when they're not physically present, they're helping you energetically, especially if you are going through something really challenging, or you need to come to the next level or something like that. Some of them, and that's usually your primary soulmate, your partner, your twin flame, would step up and be a guide. If not, if that being is not incarnate, if that being is incarnate, it's gonna connect with you somehow and just be your support system. And the others are your support system too. There are no conflicts in the soul group. I haven't seen, and Michael Newton is speaking about that too, uh, of challenging encounters there, um, of something like lower vibrational energy and feelings, jealousy, envy, rage, deliberate misunderstandings and stuff like that. That doesn't happen in soul group. Those are your lessons, your soul lessons, and your karma, and that's in study group. And yes, of course, it always depends on your individual agreement with a certain soul. If somebody needs something, I don't know, you're all learning love, but be able to understand love, maybe you need to understand a little bit of a different polarity, but it depends on a soul agreement, but it's out of the ordinary, let's say. So from everything that I've heard clients say, it's they will support you, they will uplift you, they will send you energy, they will come to your dreams. I have my partner who, I don't know whether it's discarnate or not, I'm not sure anymore, dream I mean coming into my dreams since my childhood and serving as my guide. And so if anything challenging happens and misunderstandings happen, I'm going to be clearing them a bit quicker, because all of the other energies from the sphere will be helping clear. They're not going to be creating turmoil and conflicts and separation. The point of this sphere is not separation, is unity, is community. So yes, it can happen that somebody got entangled in some lesson and sort of lost a portion of energy, or got addicted to something, some feeling, power, uh, or I don't know, something else, or started manipulating or made some mistakes that are unrepairable, let's say so. I mean, nothing is unrepairable, but it takes a bit of time. So, yes, it can happen that they drop down in vibration and frequency and color, so that they go into another group, whether that's your study group or some other group. That depends on what they need to come back to themselves and to learn. They have to go through certain processes again. And sometimes when something is really challenging is happening with some of your soul group members, like whether they're attacked or they are processing too much, something too heavy, or I don't know, whatever, uh, they have to be sort of disconnected and unplugged from the group so that they don't contaminate the others. Doesn't mean that they are sent to another group. That means that they're being healed themselves at the moment. And sometimes when that's what's that's what's happening when they're incarnate. But sometimes when soul chooses has some difficult lessons and some very big trauma happens, and they're somebody who is blaming themselves for something, or they feel responsible. Maybe they were responsible or weren't. Maybe somebody killed somebody. Maybe that was not part of the lesson. They got caught up in the screenplay and in their personality treaties, because even in the soul group, the way we differ on the earthly plane is through our temperament, through our personality treaties. And they can present a challenge sometimes. And this is your individual lesson. So you have a group lesson, but then you have an individual lesson with these intricacies of your temperament. And sometimes that can be challenging for others who are not into that individual lesson, but they do help you, though. And the thing is that if you have those people who want to help you and you're communing with them or communicating with them and working with them or are family with them on a earthly plane, then that's great. And things are going a lot better for you and quicker with certain challenges, of course, because without challenges, we won't be growing. But on when you don't have them physically present here, whether they're not in the same area as you or whether they're not incarnate, and there are other energies that can sort of create this little bit fog around you so that you can be misread sometimes, or you can misread somebody sometimes. That's another challenging part. But the thing that happens, so that I saw happening, is when um, there's something really big trauma that you're healing through lifetimes because of something that you've done or you blame yourself for, feel responsible, whether you really were responsible or not, especially if that involved doing something wrong, hurting a member of your soul group or even your soulmate. Uh, and these souls can really sort of how shall I put this? Be very aggressive towards themselves. They can be really self-destructive. That's what I'm saying. So they usually on the soul plane go through a process of isolation and healing. Uh, that involves working with soul that is a specialist for certain energy, depending on what happened. And there is a normal process for this, but there are some souls that can keep themselves in isolation for a longer period of time, and that will look like you are unable to receive or have exchange. Not only with the with other souls, but particularly in particular with your soul group, your primary soulmate. Not only your soul partner, soul primary soulmate, but anybody from your group, because you won't be able to receive this vibration of love because you've closed yourself. This is something that usually souls do to oneself, especially if it's like a very big pain involved, like heart-wrenching pain, and like a loss of a child or a loss of a partner, or you um, betrayal of a family member, or you killed your partner mm, without that being an agreement or a need, or through, I don't know, rage or something like that. Different scenarios, of course, but I'm just throwing examples. So then in that case, you are receiving messages, you're being sent messages by your guides and your council of elders and so group that you should come out of isolation, and they can pull you a little bit or put you in situations to push you to do that, but they will never impose that on you. What happens if you are refusing, or if you are continuing with the behavior that is dysfunctional and destructive for yourself or your soul group? Then you go, I mean, you go through further isolation, but then you can go through, you can downgrade and go in another group where you again, as a soul, would feel as if you're speaking a different language, because initially you came from another group. So yeah, this is why we go to see, like, we see specialist souls with special abilities and special specialties to treat different kind of energies in that soul plane, in those areas, and they are coming to see you. And this is why we also go to therapy, why we use energy treatments and sound baths and other kind of treatments, and when we need some help down here. But this is different than particularly speaking. So this can also happen that when you don't know, you don't understand that you're being destructive toward your soul family and others. It's not only hurting. I'm not speaking about you inflicting pain on somebody, because usually when you're paying out some karma, that pain is, as much as we don't like it, is agreed upon. You know, when you have karma, it's like you feel like you're just being pulled under the wheel and it can't stop. Whatever you do, it won't stop until it's done, until the karma is, balanced. This is different. It's like you're being given, you're upgraded, you learned, you came to a certain point, but then, something happened. You were either infiltrated, or had a virus, or addicted, or attacked, or something that created you behaving differently, or you just stopped developing for a certain reason, or because of your personality trait that you chose for yourself at that moment. And then your guides can actually leave you, and the energy of your soul can leave you, but that's also a lesson for you. And then you are removed from your soul. But when I say that somebody is for temporarily um, disconnected and shut down, is because you're so, especially if you're working with other people, you're active in this area, if you are, whether you are a healer or having energy transmissions, a medium or whatever, your guides, your soul group, um, or council of others, depending on what's needed, are always working with you. So whether they are incarnate or not, your soul group is always working with you. And there's a portion of them that is always kind of available. That happens in another dimension. And when something is going on with somebody else, that moment they're kind of disconnected so that it doesn't affect you, so that you can perform your duty and so that others are not contaminated, that you will feel it. And everybody will feel it. Whatever happens to a member of a soul group, especially if it's something challenging, everybody else will feel it. And luckily, they will be aware enough to know what's going on. Most of the times, we don't know what's going on. Why are something's happening? So not only that you have same lessons, but you feel what others are going through. You have similar experiences, but if they're feeling, very sad and something very double or tripled, everybody from especially the soulmate, primary soulmate first, because it's like push everything to their end. Like, everybody will feel it. So this is why I said when I was speaking about twin flame, when they have one, when they have the other two. So this is why some certain souls are experiencing more of attacks, especially if they're in, I don't know, certain tasks of transmuting cancer energy, or having to deal with the changes that we're all going through, or I don't know, recoding the system, or dismantling the matrix and bringing new stuff. Will have more challenging experiences than the others. And then um, if something happens to them, everybody else will feel it, because uh, like I said, you're one sphere, you're similar frequency, same frequency, and your soulmate the most. That's your primary soulmate or twin flame. And then they don't have to have all of you. So if they disable one of you, they basically disable the whole group, especially if this group is not incarnate, rest are not incarnate. So at that time, they cannot jump. Yes, energetically they can, but in some cases, they can prevent that. They can prevent you from feeling the help that they're sending to you. And then you will go into this, what I was just speaking about, blaming yourself and stuff like that, because you're feeling you're responsible for something and all those things. And I've experienced this. I don't have my soulmates incarnate here, maybe one or two. But when, at least for the one person that I'm quite sure about, which was my one of my oldest teachers, you with your soul group member, you don't have to be constantly you know you would meet and then you would part, but if you part, if that's the agreement, then there will be no heavy energy between you, no misunderstandings, no blame, no hard feelings. And then when you meet again, if you meet again, it will be like it was yesterday and you just met an old pal, and you're just at the same spot, and you're just uplifting each other. And these encounters are generally uplifting. And if you're in need, they would just appear. And if they're physically present, they would just contact you and say, "Hey, how you are? You need something? I just was thinking about you." And if you're especially endangered, and if they're like um, teacher energies, and this is what their role with you is, will never interfere. And if you're in a very high need, then they would interfere in like a need in like your life is in danger, then they would interfere and, I don't know, say, "Hi, how you are, come see me," which has happened to me. And they will help you, uplift you, and then yeah, you or your, if that's your agreement, if your agreement is to be, I don't know, working together, and that's different. And if your agreement is to be partners, then that's different. And yeah. Then what can happen if somebody is disconnected or sent into another group, lost in vibration, um, changed frequency. There are souls that are constantly growing, and somebody else can from the group take on that energy. So this would mean that this, uh, and that goes for those who are incarnate, because usually we have these intricacies on Earth, and this energy would just shift to another being who is physically present here, and that can happen with soulmate, and that can happen with twin flame. So if it's the dynamic between these two destructive, then this energy shifts. There's another who, like for instance, this person stopped working on itself for some reason, and then it shifts to another one who grew to that level, that moment. That doesn't mean that this soul was not in your soul group. It's usually the same soul group. So yeah, there can be people in your soul group who are presenting challenging behavior, because of their own temperament intricacies, and but like I said, and there are consequences to that, and that's very painful and very challenging, very painful. That's painful to watch, and that's painful to um, oh, experience, because there is no pain like that pain. It's not earthly, not only earthly. And it usually happens with groups who are transmuters and agents and teachers, and because they are attacked the most. And then, yeah, there are other intricacies, and I don't want to go into that because it will lead me into another direction. Um, so, yeah, like I said, in a soul group, your basic, this is your love language. This is how you understand love. So, um, this is your place of love. So, if anybody who is not from your soul group, I mean, you can share love, and there are different kinds of love, but you will only understand love through the language of your soul group, and you will only be able to receive it through the language of your soul group, because all of the others, you, like I said, you won't be understanding it. You're speaking different languages. So it's as if they know how to love you, and you understand the way they love you. And this is why this part is challenging for some people, and they don't understand it. And this part is also the most needed, because there are quite a few souls that don't have the soul mates present physically or at all on earth. And that is challenging for those souls, especially if they themselves have some challenging lessons. And then it feels like love is not present around you. And when you connect with your soul group, um, on some level, not only physical, but through, I don't know, when you first connect with them, when you first feel, through this session or other things that you do, or dreams, or through, I don't know, vibration of the country or traveling or whatever, because you're most connected with your guides or with divine, then that's what you crave for, that's what you need, because this is there's love for you there. The souls respond to love, And people, anybody responds to love, but souls don't respond to misbehavior, aggression, I don't know, any kind of lower frequencies. This is normally what your guides are going to be pulling you away from. And this is why I needed to present this, so that some of you understand what is it actually that they are looking for. And trust me, when you meet a member of your soul, you can make mistakes here or there and think that you met somebody because you have some interest or understand the concepts they're sharing. But when you actually do meet them physically or just recognize them, you will know. Because that's like a big click. It's like a piece of a puzzle coming together, because you will just know. There's nobody else can tell you this. This is something you need to know yourself, and you will know. Trust me, because you will be naturally pulled toward these people. No way you can miss them. It can be postponed. Some things may happen in between, but no way you can miss them. And even if you get angry with each other at some point for certain things, it's usually not too lasting, and it repairs, because this sphere doesn't have holes. It's your soul group is working for you and with you. And yes, what I've seen happen in I've had this particular session with what some people mental minds could not understand is that I had a session with a person in a past life. Her daughter in a past life betrayed her. She went with her soulmate, and he was her soulmate from higher planes. They played out this particular scenario for all of the lessons that they needed to have. My client and those two, her daughter and her partner, husband, were not from the same soul group. So her daughter and her husband were from the same soul group. And although her husband was not that good, not playing that good role at that moment, was I can't remember whether he was a criminal or something else. But he was, in constant fight and disagreeing with her mother, which was my client then. It's her story from past life. She left with him, and he even killed her mother, and she knew about it, and she still chose him. And although this is really difficult to understand, soulmates will always choose their soulmates, no matter what. Even if they're making choices that they are not completely acceptable and understandable for us, but we will be supporting them. It doesn't mean that they will always be agreeing with them, but they will not be abandoning them if they're physically present on this way. Of course, this is that depends on on a personal soul agreement and agreements between those souls and agreements between the study groups and everything. And there are always things that you need to consider in here. I'm just sharing the portion of the story. And there are things that you need to look into, because your chances are you might be missing something. But like I said, in soul group, there are no judgments. And where we make mistakes around here is by being really harsh in judging each other and each other's choices, the ways we want to present ourselves. This was a really extreme case. It doesn't happen that often, but that was the lesson for this client to always choose your soulmate, which she wasn't. And there were other things there for her as a lesson too, but this was one of it. So it's an extreme point, but I just needed to say it. I forgot to mention it in my Serbian video because I forgot about it. But that's one of the things that your soulmate do for you if you need them more at that moment. And I that soul actually didn't have with her soulmate in that lifetime uh, destructive connection, and with her it was completely different, which is kind of strange because then the other the other roles that he had towards others, including her mother, was something completely different. But then that's, choices and roles that we play um, for for each other to help each other learn something and go through something. And then I was asking some clients, they were in soul group recently, of some, I asked some questions of what would happen if she made, if they made these choices that would not be good for them, would remove them from their path, or move them away from the lesson, or what they came from their mission and from the divine. What would then happen? What would the soul group do? And the answer was always that they would help me. They would enhance the energy, and they would call me. It would be like a soul call, and they would help. So yeah, just something to think about, isn't it? It means that no matter what's going on, no matter how alone we feel, we are actually not. Whether somebody is physically present from another dimension, or from another, I don't know, wherever, or, but we all have to go through certain things to get to the point where we actually can connect with our soul group, soulmate, and soul group, so that um, we can understand and receive this vibration of love. Because with these denser earthly plane and all our personality traits, there are possibilities of misunderstanding things, misreading things, and something being disrupted. But then the point is that it's always better when we're together. When we are together, we can create something together more easily, easier. You have somebody helping you and thinking with you and bringing down this energy, downloading this energy, and embodying this energy together with you. It's not all on you. And even when you have, gone separate ways because of disagreements and stuff, soul group is all about unity and coming back to self and to God and unity. So soulmates are always there to bring you back to your path and to the divine. And this is how you recognize them, by the vibration and how it feels in your heart and how it clicks in your heart. And they will never distract you or be rude to you or malicious with you, manipulative. They will help you. Even when you're refusing help, they will help you, or at least try. So for those who into this place of power play, that doesn't happen with soul groups, and well, at least not that often. But if it is, just think that as a one unity group, you're much stronger than when you're separate. Especially these days with everything that is going on. So anybody from your soul group needs some help, and you can help. Just do it from distance without questions asked, and asking something in return, because in these times it's better to stand together, and don't let the ones from who are your people fall down in traps, in spite of whether you're in contact with them or not. Especially so if you are. It's not a time for refusing to help or refusing to receive. It's time for union. This or that way. So this is not just a story about twin flames. It's high time for these kind of unions. But this one, this is like the sacred families need to come together to work together and create communities. This is something I really deeply desire for and envision for all of us. That would be so much easier for all of us, and the change would happen so much quicker. No time for division. That's what I'm saying. I'm still some really not so nice energy is clearing from me, and it's like I don't know why. So I think this is all for now, and connect with me. And if you want to talk to me or have a consultation or session or find your soul group, I hope this helped you to recognize your soulmate and create something together with them, regardless of what that is. Or if you need help in connecting with them, this is what we do in sessions. We create paths, energetic paths. This plane where the primary soul group is, we create energetic paths and clear space, energy space for you, so that you can actually at some point meet if they're here. And I think this is what we all need and want. Somebody, people, and that we commune with without our emotions, and who are supportive of us, and with whom we are communicating on a ethic level, and just creating together. So yeah, do reach out if you need something like that. If not, thank you for your attention and listening to me, and see you until the next time with the next lesson. Bye.